What's up, everybody? So, for the second interview, this interview was actually not a Wire Me interview. This interview was actually for Coffea Flair, which is the fashion magazine I work for. You should definitely go check out CoffeaFlair.com. Make sure you buy those first two issues of Coffea Flair. It just came out as well, too. And, more issues on the way. Definitely if you want to support a black magazine, go check that out. Good quality, great content. For this interview, I interviewed Raheem Farnell. He is the creator, founder, CEO of the Vavylon fashion brand. It's a brand based out in Japan. Let's see, we got the Vavylon shades on right now. Boom, got the good Vavylon flannel going on right here. So yeah, definitely go check out Vavylon. I'm pretty sure they just released their spring collection, so definitely go check out all they dope gear. This is by far one of my most favorite interviews that I've done so far. Shout out to Raheem and the whole Vavylon brand. Yeah, like I said before, make sure you go check out the spring collection. Hope you enjoy the interview.
All right, so first question is, where did the name Vavylon come from, and what was the inspiration behind the brand?
So Vavylon actually came from, I used to go to Christian school when I was young, so I learned about the Tower of Babylon. But as I grew up, I changed my religion. But reading into Bible about Babylon, that's where the culture was actually started. Eventually, that's where everything was started, where different language, because people were building the Babylon Tower toward the sky, and like God was like, we're gonna construct some kind of magic where everybody couldn't communicate no more because everybody speaks a different language. So with that concept, I was kind of like, you know what, like that's kind of how my brand wants to be. It's just for everybody. My whole point was like, when I was growing up, I grew up in like a fashion household. My grandma owned a boutique store. My mom was into fashion. My grandpa was used to be into fashion. So I was always around that. But then every time I go to Gucci or Louis or wherever that's high end, I'm not trying to be racist or anything, but you always see a white person. You have an image of like it's a white person product. And I didn't want that my brand to be. It's like I want everybody to be comfortable walking in, because I mean, when you hear Bape or whatever, you think about hip hop culture. It's always like this segregation. I don't like that. That's why I wanted to create my brand called Vavylon, as in I changed a B to a V. It's in Latin. We don't use that no more. But it's the same concept, but that's the whole idea behind it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you mentioned like if you don't mind answering this, like you mentioned that like you changed your religion, like how big of a part did that play into the name for you?
So I'm half Japanese and African American.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was born in Oakland, California, during that time, my mom and my dad was together, so it was more of like I won't say it was a Christian, but mainly it was a Christian house, so like Jesus, Bible. My grandma was heavy on Bible on my dad's side. But then once they split, I went with my mom, so we came back to Japan. So in Japan, we do like the Shinto, kind of like a Buddhism, Mm-hmm. So it's more so, it's the whole thing about like karma and do good things and something will come back. Like that's more believable to me in a way. Mm-hmm. As I was growing up, when I was listening to the Bible, it was kind of like, like you do this, you go to hell. It's kind of like, it was kind of harsh for me because, because again, at the end of the day, we gonna sin, and then if we don't repent the next day, we can repent at church the next day, but then if I go the next Saturday do the same shit, how does that work? But in like this Buddhism and Shinto, it's kind of like we don't have to go to church every Sunday, every Wednesday to be accepted. So to me, I was more like, like I believe more that than anything, more of a spiritual, So I decided to kind of go more towards that route. So to me, our family, every New Year's, that's the only time we go to the temple and pray, or sometime when we're going through something, But we don't go to church like every Wednesday, Sunday. We don't do that. I feel like it's not really necessary. So that's why I think it shifted more towards that way, because it was more believable. It was more of like an idea. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it wasn't like we're praising this guy that we think it looks like this. It's not really like that. But we believe in the belief system. So like the whole, do good and something will happen. And we do have different gods. So God of water, God of sun, God. I feel like that's more like it makes sense to me. But again, nothing against Christianity either, because I don't knock nobody off because their religion is different. So.
And when exactly did Vavylon start?
Vavylon start 2017. So yeah, almost 5 years ago.
Okay.
It's been a while now, but first 2 years was pretty rough. A lot of investing and losing money, not business, but now it's pretty picking up and doing really well.
Mm-hmm. And like being a streetwear brand, like what exactly like sets Vavylon apart from other streetwear brands?
So for us, for me actually, this brand, I'm more so leaning towards like a luxury streetwear brand. So I consider myself falling under like Kith, Fear God, those kind of brand where it's kind of like it is a streetwear, but it's more of like a luxury. Like it's different. And the difference between my brand and the other brand that's coming up is that I use all Japanese fabric. Like when I use Japanese kimono because I want to share my culture, and then I want people to appreciate it. And the reason why behind that is because when I was in college in Chicago, I was in class and people were like, "Oh, this kid with dreads and he's from Japan," and then this couple people were like, "Oh, so like, oh y'all niggas be dogs and shit, right?" And I'm just like, bro, like don't disrespect my shit like that, bro. Like, and then that's when I was kind of like, you know what? Let me just turn that like stupidity into like a lesson for people. Like Japan is this. And then also, when I say Japan, people be like, "Ooh, anime porn. Oh, it's sushi." Bro, there's more to it. Like, y'all need to get out that mindset of Japan is this one thing. It's more than that. It's a beautiful place. It's amazing culture. And then I just wanted to share through my clothes also what I went through as me growing up. So it's kind of like every collection is a story also, but implementing a Japanese culture. So. Yeah, that's why it kind of separates everything because I put like my everything in it. It's not just kind of like, oh, I'm gonna slap some shit on the shirt, I'm gonna sell it. Like when I do that shit, I don't feel right because I feel like I'm not connected with my product. So when I sell that stuff, like I don't feel happy. But when I sell stuff like some stuff behind me right now, that's all handmade. I cut and sew in house. And I take time, and then when I do that, and when people appreciate it, I'm just like, bro, like I put my sweat and tears for that product, so I appreciate that. So I try to kind of stay away from what do you call it, like the graphic tees and all that, because like honestly, like no disrespect, but everybody can do that. You just gotta find a graphic designer and can just slap something on, and nothing wrong with that. I'm just trying to stay away from that.
Yeah. Like you kind of were talking about like how, like. People look at Japan as this one thing. Like with you, like having like an international brand that's like also black. Like how exactly would you describe that experience for like I don't know people here in America like who couldn't like kind of comprehend like how the two could come together, like with
Man, I mean that's actually a good question, but I would say me being in Japan as because they don't look at me as a Japanese kid. They look at me as especially with these, they're gonna be like, oh, like a bad guy. But it's just what opened my eyes really as I grew up was there's no it doesn't change much difference between U.S. and Japan when it comes to us like brothers being here. They're gonna look at our skin color, they're gonna judge us no matter where we are, and that's the hard truth that I learned. It's more chill here. They're not gonna shoot you, arrest you, or anything. But hell, I'll step out, and then they will pull me over out of anybody else. But it's an amazing place, honestly. And then my suggestion to people that's in the States that's listening or watching is more so like, if you got the time and the money to do it, visit Japan, and your whole perspective on life will change. And I'm not over exaggerating. It's like people, like a lot of my friends that's in the States, they end up staying in their city, and that's it. Or they stay just in the United States. But me, growing up, I went to places. I went to Korea, I went to mainland Japan, I went to Okinawa, I went to Thailand, and all that kind of stuff. I'm about to go to Europe in 2 weeks. Like, I just travel and to see the world, because that's where I get all my inspiration when I make my clothes. Is when I travel, meet people, speak different, talk to people in different places. It's like, wow, that's amazing. So yeah, I mean, that's I think one thing I can tell people in the States, so y'all need to travel, just get out. Not that don't mean go to Canada. That don't count. Y'all gotta go overseas and just try different things, and it opens up so much. And I feel like that brings also diversity and a respect for other people. And then I think when people more start doing that, I feel like we can minimize like racism in general. That's kind of like a little tweak in it too for me, for my clothing brand. It's just like I want to make sure people, what do you say, just respect each other. You feel me? It's all love at the end of the day. And if I can spread that through my brand, that's all I want, really. I'm not really looking for it to be rich, but I just want to be like, you know what I'm saying, able to share what I went through as a half Black, half Japanese kid in Japan, going to Japanese school in the beginning, and then growing up and going to American school, and then going to college in the States. And it's just like these stories are just crazy. So if I can share that through my clothes, that'd be dope.
What was it that got you into designing clothes, and like was fashion something that you were always into, or like was that something that like kind of came with time?
So when it comes to clothes, I always wanted to make clothes since I was a kid. Like I said, I was pretty much surrounded by fashion on my mom's side. So when I was growing up, you know, it's like maybe I'll walk maybe 3, 4, 5 steps. It's a fabric store. If I keep going down the road, it's like, oh, they sell like a mannequin. If I keep going down the street, to another fabric store. And if you turn left, it's another boutique store. It's like, it's just straight fashion. I'm like, wow, I was just like amazed by this shit. I'm like, that's crazy. And then, but I was like a little kid. So I'm just I like the fact that I can just run around and nobody will say shit to me. And I was like, man, it was fun. But then my mom, my grandma, my grandpa always dressed me nice. They always got me, one thing I'll never forget that I wish, like, as we get older, I wish that the clothes get bigger too, because they bought me this vintage windbreaker. I forgot what team it was. It was some baseball team. It was dope. And I had this nice fitted, and they showed me the picture. I'm just like, yeah, that's a cold ass fit. But then they always dress me nice, to, you know what I'm saying? And then one thing I noticed was just like, you know, fashion is also a form of communication to people. You don't gotta say anything, but when you see people dressed a certain way, it's easy to approach. Like somebody wearing some crazy shit, it's kind of like hard to approach, but it just represents them without saying a word.
Yeah.
And that shit, to me, it's like, wow. So, and then as I got older, you know, that kind of fashion was always in me. So when I go to school, high school, man, shoes, pants, shirt, hat, everything matched head to toe. And then I was always known as like, you know, a kid that's too flashy. I'm always matching. If I'm wearing orange shoes, I got an orange hat. If I got a red shoes, I got a red hat. If I got a pink shirt, I got a pink shoe. I don't know. I was always matching. And then once I always wanted to make clothes, but I never had that drive, because I was kind of like, you know, like, I know fashion industry is difficult. It's super cutthroat. If you cannot keep up with the seasonal shit, if you cannot keep up with the culture, if you cannot keep up with the trend, you will, you know, not really make it in a big time. You might be popular in your city, but that's it. But I know there's a whole controversy right now with Kanye. I get it.
Yeah.
But he kind of did give me that hope, because he kind of went outside of the box compared to all that trend that everybody was doing. He went with that weird shit, and he popped off, and that kind of gave me a hope. I'm like, you know what, like, maybe it is okay to be different, you know? So I was like, nah, fuck, I'm gonna do it. But still, I didn't have a drive till I met this guy in Chicago. What's his name? His name was Joe Freshcook. He's pretty popular. Joe Freshgood. So he's a Chicago creative director for this brand. I didn't know who he was. We were just chopping it up in the club in Chicago. And I'm lit. He's lit. And I'm just like, hey, like, and he comes up to me. He was like, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I was like, I'm a college student. And I'm broke. I don't care. I'm just like, I don't know, teacher, Air Force. I don't know. I don't know. And he was like, no. What do you want to do? And I'm like, yeah, I just told you, I want to be a teacher, Air Force. I don't know. I don't know. And he was like, that's what your parents want you to do, but what do you want to do? And I stopped and I thought about it. I'm like, what? And I was like, I do want to make clothes. Like, I love fashion. And then he goes, then fucking do it. And I thought he was being an asshole. So I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, but then he was like, if you don't try, you will never know how this will turn out. He's like, do you want to regret at the end of your life that, oh, damn, I should have did it? And I'm just like, I'm drunk, but in my head, I'm like, you're right. You know what? Fuck it, I'm gonna start it. And then the next day, I just start sketching shit, thinking about my brand name. And then the first brand name was, I forgot what it was. I know it was so trash. I was like, God, what am I doing? And then I kept on thinking, I kept on thinking. And actually, my girl now, but I met her during that time. And I was just kind of shooting shit to her. I'm like, what do you think about this? What do you think about this? What do you think about this? And then she's like, and then for some reason, I was like, I want to implement culture. And then the Vavylon came up. So I was like, Vavylon is too like basic. And then I feel like it will come off as like a Christian brand. So I'm like, let me see something. So, you know, the Google Translate, you can change all the different languages.
Yeah.
And I was just like, let me try Latin real quick. And that shit came out with B. And I shoot that shit to my girl. And she goes, yo, I think we got something. I'm like, right? I was like, hey, this is it. Man, right when it felt right. It clicked. And I'm like, oh, shit. Man, I got on my web, I got on the computer real quick. Boom, boom, boom. Registered as a DBA ASAP. Went to the Chicago City Hall somewhere. Registered it, put it in the newspaper, and then just ever since then we ran off with that one. So yeah, it's a lot of people that help me out. That's why I always tell this story, because I don't want people to think that I always had this shit figured out. I didn't at all. If I never ran into that guy, I probably not had this brand at all. Cause I really was ready to just find a 9-to-5 job, get married by 25, have a kid, just that regular life shit. You know what I'm saying? But now I'm just here, just kind of living my life, doing what I want. I'm doing my 9-to-5, but I'm also doing this, my free time, and just kind of, it's a different lifestyle compared to other people. You feel me? Like some people do just wake up, go to work, come home, go to bed, repeat, and it's like, I cannot live my life like that, because see my mom own a business, doing her own thing, traveling around the world whenever the fuck she feel like, that's what I wanted. And I was like, I want that lifestyle. So I think that kind of pushed me to be more hungry. And of course, people around me that supported me, like you said, Jacob, Mango, he's been supporting me since day one when I was just making an ugly ass shirt that was just Vavylon. He was like, I'll rock this shit still to this day. I'm like, damn. But people like him, motivated me, and now it's in Europe, it's in US, it's in Japan, it's in Australia, and then pretty much worldwide. So yeah, it's dope. That's all I can really say.
No, it definitely is dope. So with the fashion show coming up on November the 12th, what do you hope to accomplish with that? And like, what do you want people to take away from it?
So earlier I mentioned about luxury streetwear. So this fashion show is kind of like telling the people I'm switching over to more luxury, meaning it's going to cost you more, but it's going to be better quality, but less product. So let's just say I make this high quality product. Maybe I might just make 10. I sell it. That's it. I'm not restocking. Kind of like Supreme. When Supreme drops shit, that's it. You don't really touch it. But then their price keep going up. But I want to switch over to more luxury side, because I do a lot of cut and sew. And then people are saying, like, you charge so like not much for a lot of cut and sew that you do. Like, you have to think about the time you're putting in. So I think in the beginning I was just worried about, like, damn, if I overprice it, people think I'm gonna crack or some shit. So I didn't want that. But then as I grew my business, I was like, you know what? Like, I don't give a fuck what people think. Like, this is my work, and what I think is worth it, and I think it's worth it. So the most expensive product I sold was the overalls. I think going back here, these overalls right here. Like it's kind of like the onesie ones. I customized it and sold it for $500, and then I only sold 3, but it was sold out in a week. But I tear everything apart, put Japanese fabric on, customize it the way the customer wants it, and I just send it out like that. So that's the one main thing about my fashion shows. Like, I'm letting the customer know, like, hey, streetwear, yes, but it's gonna be more luxury. And then other thing I'm trying to accomplish is, you know, Tokyo is a city of fashion, growing fast out of all the prefecture in Japan. So I just want to kind of introduce them, like, hey, like, this kind of brand do exist, which is owned by half Japanese and African American kids. Because in Okinawa, it's an island, so people are more so interested in beach, sun, food. They don't give a fuck about no fashion over here. It's hot as fuck, so they don't care. They're not trying to wear hoodies. They don't care about that. But in Tokyo, there's a season. There is summer, whatever, fall, spring, winter, whatever. They have that. So they are into spring clothes, summer clothes, fall clothes, winter clothes. So I want to introduce them, like, hey, like, this kind of brand do exist. And I want to just kind of show people, like, this what's going on. And then even just for the show, I'm just kind of showing them the winter collection, but more on the luxury side. So everything is cut and sew. So all that design on the hoodie, everything from scratch. I cut everything up, measured it, taped it, sewed it, and then put it on the hoodie. So.
All right. Now I got one last question for you. Where do you see Vavylon going in the future?
So in the future, my goal mainly is to, just do this for the rest of my life. I'm kind of tired of 9 to 5. And nothing wrong with 9 to 5. Again, I want to make that clear, because me being an entrepreneur and being a brand owner and being a designer and being the head of the creative director, everything for this brand. One thing I really noticed, especially doing the marketing on Instagram, it is the most toxic shit on this fucking planet right now. It's toxic. It's good for business, but it's toxic as hell, because I see a lot of posts saying, like, oh, college is a waste of time. What else? 9 to 5 is stupid. It's like, but I say this on a podcast too, but it's like, for the people that's doing 9 to 5, ain't nothing with doing there's nothing wrong with doing 9 to 5. That's fine. If you're okay with that, if you're happy with that, that's fine. People always try to compete, and I don't like that shit.
Yeah.
It's just mad annoying. You know what I'm saying? Like, Instagram is fake. They only show you the good part.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Making this clothing brand, they never see me struggle, stress, cry, go broke. Second year, I broke down because I spent all my money on buying shit, and then I didn't make no money back. But they did not see that. But you know what saved me? The 9 to 5 saved my ass to bring back on the third year. Like, people don't understand that shit, and it just kind of irritates the hell out of me. So I want to kind of share my message through my brand. Like, bro, like, it's gonna be hard, but it's gonna be fine. Keep the 9 to 5 till you double your income from your business, and then you can quit your 9 to 5 maybe.
Yeah.
And that's not for clothing brand either. That's for if you got restaurants, if you got whatever.
Mm.
So you double the salary. Do not quit. You know what I'm saying? And that's the message I want to share to my brand. But other than that, my other goal is just kind of spread positivity. The world is fucked up right now. So I just want to make clothes and then put smile on people's face. And that's really it. I know it sounds so corny, but it's like that's what we need right now. I've been looking at the stateside news sometimes on Twitter. Sometimes Twitter is fucking fake, but some of the stuff I see, I'm just kind of like, damn, like kidnapping, missing girls, missing guys, missing boys, shooting at school, this and that. It's like, what happened to, what I'm saying, like, love and peace? Just, what the fuck is going on? I want to go back to the States, honestly. I miss it. But then me getting older, I want to have family. I want to have, I want to make sure, like, my future wife is safe. I want to make sure my future kids are safe. In the States right now, I don't feel the safeness. I'd rather keep them here in Japan and just put them in the military base, and it's a little more safer than anything else. But I mean, going back to what I was saying, that's how my brand is. It's just about awareness, just kind of like, hey, like it's all peace and love. And in different culture, you should appreciate different culture. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And people talk shit about Chinese people, but them motherfuckers are good too. You know, Europeans, people talk about Europeans. People are good. There's good people everywhere. We just kind of nitpick on small shit and then kind of run with it. I mean, we do the same thing. Don't get me wrong, but
No,
we gotta change that as a person. But I know it gets really kind of touchy subject.
yeah.
But that's the truth behind the brand. It is about creativity, but again, I don't want to use my word because I feel like when I speak about it, people get uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Because it's true. But then if I can just speak to my designs and creativity, that's really what I'm aiming for. And then hopefully in 2-3 years, I can have a shop either in Tokyo or Osaka, not Okinawa. Like I said, it's not a fashion central. So, but I want to have a shop open, even if not shop, maybe at least like a booth somewhere in a store, you know, like a section, or let's just say some other brand was like, hey, like let's collab. That's what I'm looking really forward to. Just expand my business, honestly, internationally. And if and I hope it happens. Once that happens, I do want to have it in California, Illinois. Well, I don't want to say California. I'll just say like LA, Chicago, New York, Miami. Like just that major city. I want to have my brand and eventually just expand. And then maybe hopefully I can have it in Europe too. But that's my main goal. But I just want people to know my brand is for everybody. It's not for one specific person. Just because I'm Black and Japanese does not mean it's for the Black and Japanese community. It's for the white folks. It's for the Asians, the Europeans, the Africans, the whatever, the Martians. I don't care. Like if y'all want to rock my shit, y'all can rock my shit. Like that's what it's for you guys. So yeah, that's mainly what it is. This brand, and again, my collection also just tells a story. Every single one of them. So
yeah. Well, yeah. I'm loving the brand. Yeah, like you say, I've been seeing Mango post for years now. So like, I just been tapped in. I'm like, this stuff hard. So, and like I'm really rocking with it. And can you just like say and spell out your first and last name? Yeah, just for the story.
No, so my name is Rahman. So Rahman, and then Farnell, Farnell. And then the Japanese name is same Rahman, but then Maruo, so Maruo. That's my Japanese side of the name. So I gotta make sure I gotta represent both.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But that's about it. But yeah, I mean, I'm actually glad that I get this opportunity because I do marketing, but I feel like people don't really know like the truth really behind it, what goes into it. So yeah, appreciate this opportunity.
Nah, yeah, start recording.